Hi, I'm Darcyjusten. I'm a midlife coach and mentor, and I love working with women and try to help them avoid the midlife meltdown and really embrace midlife with fun and ease. I'm glad that you're here today. If you are one of those women that is out there embracing the world of dating, we are going to be talking about dating in midlife today. Welcome, and I'm so glad you're here. If you're here for the first time, you can subscribe to my channel. If you like the video today, you can hit like, and that would be wonderful. So, what is dating all about in midlife, and why do we hear a lot of complaining and grumbling and mumbling and things like that? I think it's kind of taken on a life of its own, right? Because of social media and all of that. But I think the way we can avoid some of the pitfalls and some of the heartbreak, how do we avoid the heartbreak in dating in midlife? How do we protect our hearts? And how do we put ourselves out there? I think is a really, really important question. That's what we're going to talk about. A lot of it, I think, really boils down to expectations. We're all in different phases of our life. And if you are coming out of a really ugly divorce and you want to date, then you really, really have to protect your heart because certain things happen to you and you may be more open and more vulnerable than other women that have been out there dating for a while. So please tread very carefully if you're coming out of infidelity, abuse, or any of those types of things. I would really recommend that you probably get a little bit of therapy, get a little bit of help. I know there are coaches out there that just work on relationships. I always work on relationships when I'm coaching women in midlife. But if you need extra help, then I would really suggest that you get that before you jump into this crazy world of dating and all of the ups and downs and in and outs of that. So you can protect your heart. Um, I think so much of dating really comes down to expectations. What kind of expectations do you have? That's really important. And the reason I bring this up is I had a friend who was on one of the dating apps, and she said, I'm not meeting any nice guys. I'm only meeting guys that um, make comments about me, and all men are the same. And she just kept saying things like that. So one day I said, I'd like to see your dating profile. So she showed it to me. And the expectation was not clear. She had a very revealing outfit. She had pictures of her in her bathing suit. Beautiful woman, beautiful body. And it said on there that she was looking for a committed relationship. So I'm gonna defend men a little bit here, and I'm gonna say if you're a guy, if you're a dude, and they are driven by visual more than anything else, that's what they're going to be immediately attracted to is your body, everything that's really beautiful about you, and you may be losing them in that conversation because you're looking for a committed relationship and you're sending mixed messages. So the first thing I would recommend that you do if you are out there dating is make sure that you're really clear on your message, whether it's social media, whether it is when you go out and meet people. And for instance, I know someone they want to date, they just want to have fun right now. They had a marriage, they don't want to be married again. So that's a very clear message when you're meeting people or when someone's trying to set you up with someone. I just really just want to meet someone and have fun. I don't want to be in a committed relationship again. I don't want to get married again. And that may change in the future, but you need to be clear on your expectations now, or you're sending the wrong messages to people. So that's very, very important. And you also need to be very clear on your expectations around sex. There are women out there that are just ready to go, and there are other women out there that don't want to be involved in and we're going to talk about that in a minute, in a hot and heavy sexual relationship. So think about that when you're dating and think about what messages you want to send. And if you just want it to be sexual, then there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally up to you, but that's the message that you want to make sure that you send. Um, all right, so we're going to talk about 6 ways to avoid heartache, angst, pain, um, and in midlife. So, what are some of the things that you can avoid? I think one of the first things for me is be very, very cautious of men that are emotionally unavailable. If you don't know what that means, you can look it up, spend a little bit more time on it. But just quickly, men that are not emotionally available very often can be a narcissist. It doesn't mean that you can't have a relationship with them. It doesn't mean you can't have a marriage with them, but you will know because very quickly in the relationship, you are doing the chasing. You are sort of chasing them down. You are sort of trying to find them, and they're just not emotionally available. And so be very clear on whether or not you want that. And if they're not emotionally available, usually there are other things that go along with that. So a lot of times they will avoid meeting you. Sometimes these are the men that end up ghosting you. So don't put a lot of time and a lot of attention into someone that's not emotionally available. It goes back to that old saying, it's like trying to be friends with a woman that isn't emotionally available and doesn't want to be friends with you. You're doing all the work, and then one day they ghost you and you can't figure out why. Well, it's because it wasn't really two-sided from the beginning. It was mostly you and what you wanted. And so be very, very careful of that. The other thing, this is going to sound crazy, but be very aware when you have too much chemistry. If you're just ready to, you meet this guy and you guys are just ready to rip your clothes off and go at it, that's actually not a good sign. You think that that would be a fantastic sign, but too much chemistry or instant chemistry can mean that there's nothing else there. And so you have to be very, very careful about that. So I have my own views on being in a sexual relationship with someone, but that's one of the things that you need to really think about. That can actually lead you to a lot of heartbreak. If you get into it with someone like that, it's very hot and heavy, and you need a lot more than just chemistry to have a committed relationship. And then it kind of starts falling apart, and you wonder why, because they were so attracted to you and it was so hot and heavy. That could be the reason that there just wasn't enough there other than that, right? And sometimes one and there isn't any chemistry and then it comes later. But immediate chemistry that's too hot and too heavy, watch that. That could be a warning sign. Another thing that you need to watch is men that are super flirty. And I actually was married before my husband now, and I was married to someone that had to flirt with everybody. And as women, we love we love it when someone pays attention to us. We love it when someone tells us we're pretty, we have a pretty smile, we have beautiful eyes. And there are men out there that are just, I would call professional flirters. Okay. I know that sounds crazy, but what I'm trying to say is they flirt and it doesn't mean anything. So as women, a lot of times we take that the wrong way, especially if you're a little broken, if you're a little hurt, if you're coming out of a bad relationship and someone is flirting with you, you can think, "Oh my God, he's attracted to me." And most of the time they are. It just you have to remember it may mean nothing. There are men, I have had friends that have had men flirt with them for years. For years. So flirting is fun. Don't get addicted to it. It can become unhealthy for you as a person. And depending on what you want, but if you want to be in a good, solid relationship, if you want to date someone and only date them, watch the flirting. It can be dangerous and you can get caught up in it and you can be addicted to it. And it can actually really end up being a problem. So don't read too much into flirting. Okay, it could be very shallow and not really mean anything. The other thing that I want you to avoid is somebody love bombing you. Now, this has happened to me more than once, so I'm speaking from personal experience. Narcissists love to love bomb you. And those are people that don't really know who they are. They're not able to sustain a long-term relationship. And love bombing, if you've never heard this term before, love bombing is an immediate attraction to you. So they're sending you flowers, they're calling you day and night, they're bombing you with attention, affection, and you get very caught up in it. And again, if you're coming out of a bad relationship, these people will usually find you and you are a huge target. You are a huge target for them. So you must protect your heart, protect your mind, protect your body. Love bombing, a lot of times is centered around someone who's not real stable and a lot of times a narcissist. The other way people love bomb you is text you all the time. They want to know what you want. Maybe they start buying you clothes. It's just too much, too fast, too soon. So if it feels like it's too much, too fast, too soon, it doesn't feel good, it's not what you want. I can tell you right now, because a lot of times what happens with narcissists in particular is they love bomb you, and then once they get you, they ignore you. Once they marry you, or once you move in together, or you're in this relationship together, then you're sort of like, what happened? I'm still I'm still attractive, I'm still fun, but it's the fun for them is over. So really, really watch that, notice that, pay attention to what they are doing more than what they are saying. That's a very, very important thing. The other thing with a lot of narcissists and people that do a lot of this love bombing, a lot of times they don't introduce you to their friends. A lot of times they can be they can appear to be out in the world and very involved in things, but they're really not. And so again, you sort of have to take your time and really pay attention to that. You don't want them over at your house all the time. Anyone that needs to be with you all the time is not a healthy man. All right. A healthy man has a job, has things to do. He has a good relationship with his family. Maybe he has adult children, and he's not having to be with you every moment of every day. Okay. So just remember that fancy dinners, fancy clothes, all of that, that could be love bombing if it's too much, too soon, too fast. Um, so let's talk about social media a little bit. I hear a lot of women complain about dating, being older, social media. What do I take from this? What do I take from that? Here's my take on all of the dating, the texting, the emailing. If you're talking to someone and you are attracted to them, you should be going out on a date. I have actually had clients that have told me they've been talking to someone for 6 months and they really, really are attracted to them, but he's too busy at work to go out on a date. That is just BS, okay? And you need to call it out. Men and women can have all kinds of relationships through and around social media. There's no doubt about it. They can have all kinds of relationships. And what you're looking for, whether you just want to have fun, whether you want to be in a committed relationship, or whether you want to get married again, you're looking for a healthy relationship. And not going out on dates, not introducing you to his friends, not being there for you when you need them is not a healthy relationship, even if it's just for fun. So Be very careful about someone that just wants to text you and just wants to email you and doesn't want to talk on the phone. Remember, just because someone shows they're interested in you doesn't mean that they're not already in a relationship, and it doesn't mean that they're not married. Okay? There are people out there that are looking for fun and excitement, and if you respond to that, it doesn't mean that they're emotionally, physically, any other way you want to put it, it doesn't mean that they're available to you just because they're reaching out and they want to talk to you. All right. So that is a pitfall you want to avoid. Don't get caught up in texting and emailing. And oh, I want to send you this picture. And they need to want to be with you. They need to want to go out with you. You should be dating. Um, and do not accept a virtual fake relationship. That's not a relationship, okay? It's virtual, it's fake, it doesn't mean anything. So don't get caught up in that and think, oh, well, he's going to ask me out tomorrow. He doesn't ask you out, and then it's the next week. That doesn't feel good for you. So be very, very careful about that. And number six, the last thing we're going to talk about is being ghosted, because that happens a lot. And it seems like it happens a little bit more to women as they get a little bit older. And it really preys on our insecurities and our self-worth. And everything was going great. And why did they just stop calling? Why did they disappear? So we call that ghosting, right? When they used to be there and now there's nothing there, just a ghost of them. Um, Again, a lot of this can kind of tie back into some of the other things that we talked about. I'm sorry. Maybe they're a narcissist. Maybe they lost interest. Maybe they weren't that interested to begin with, but you came on a little needy. Maybe you wanted too much from them. So here's my advice for getting ghosted. Walk away. Don't ever try to figure out why you were ghosted, what happened, what did you do wrong. All right. It's just like if you have someone that cheats on you, a lot of times it's their problem and not yours. All right. It's them, not you. It's them. So it's the same with the ghosting. Sometimes guys are chicken, they're chicken shits, and they don't know how to break up with you, so they ghost you. All right. That's not anyone that you want in your life. That's not anyone that you want to be with. And so walk away. Walk away. If you don't hear from, if you're talking to someone on a regular basis and you stop hearing from them, walk away. If they come back after 2 or 3 months, you have to remember they've probably been with someone else. And again, you need to have on your your warning signals. You need to have all of your warning signals on. And I guarantee you there are a lot of men out there that should have a warning label right across their forehead. Warning, not emotionally available. Warning, narcissist. Warning, just want to have sex with as many women as I can. That exists. And so, in order to protect our hearts and to protect us, we have to be aware of the warning signs and walk away. Because remember, you are a beautiful woman and you are valuable and you have a wonderful self-worth. And when people chip away at you and they ghost you and they act like they're all into you and then they're not, or they flirt with you a lot and it goes nowhere, that chips away at your self-worth and who you are as a woman. And you don't have to accept that. And you don't have to be part of that game, right? A lot of it's just a big game, just a big dating game. So in order for us to date, we have to be very brave. We have to figure out what the warning signs are for the types of people that we really don't want to be in our life. We need to figure out, how do we attract the right men? What is our messaging? What do we need to say when we meet them, when we see them? All right? We need to not be needy. We need to be very, very confident and very confident in our self-worth, and walk away and walk away when it doesn't feel good. If you're with someone and it feels icky, there's a reason for that. If they're disrespecting you and they are not giving you the time that you need, or they're not asking about your life or your career or your children, then they don't deserve to be with you. So why give them your time? Just say no. I know there is someone else out there for me that can bring all of these wonderful things into my life. Avoid the bad relationships. They are so much worse than just being by yourself, because they chip away at your self-esteem, your self-worth, and all of a sudden you start thinking there's something wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with you. You just wanted it, and you are willing to step out there and step into it. But be brave, be resilient, and you can date in your 50s, in your 60s. I know women dating in their 70s. Have fun, but protect your heart. From my heart to yours, protect your heart. All right, I will talk to you soon. Bye, babes.